Hey guys, what's up? It's Edlin, and today we're gonna create a foghorn. If you don't know what a foghorn is, just listen to the charts, the drum and bass charts, and you will definitely find out what a foghorn style bass is. All it is like two sine waves and distorted to shit, and then you have like a horn sound. And how to make one now? That's pretty easy. I'm gonna show you. So first off, we're gonna use Serum. So load up Serum here, bit version. So fine. And then we have init preset here. Nice little sawtooth wave, and we're gonna change it to a wavetable. And we're gonna select harmonic series. And harmonic series is a wavetable that does stuff like this. So like individual harmonics. So we're gonna use position number 3, which is this one. So this is like out of key. It's not when I play C that it's playing a C. It's playing actually something above it. We're gonna enable the second oscillator, and we're gonna get a sine wave. And we're gonna put this 2 octaves down. Right. Next up is to disable this oscillator. Just turn down the volume, and FM it to oscillator B. At FM from A. And then we're gonna check if it works. Like a really ugly sound. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna LFO it. We're gonna use envelope mode on the LFO. And what that does is this. It will just stop and it won't loop like a traditional LFO does. This is just like an envelope right now. But it's really handy because you can make some really complex shapes with this LFO. And that will really make like a pattern. Oh, it's very useful, and I'm going to show you in a bit what it does after we finish the sound. So we're going to just make it a little bit longer. We're going to make it a bar, so we can actually check how the... Yeah, that's the little foghorn style envelope, the basic. We're going to add a sub. We're just going to enable that and put it like 2 octaves down, out. After that, we're going to enable a filter. We're going to also add a noise. Just lose a little bit of don't really matter. We can change it later on. And I'm going to use a band pass. This one, I'm just going to put the drive up a little weird thing. You know, this filter is really weird. And you're just going to do something like this. That sounds really random. Next up is the hyper/dimension, and we're gonna enable the dimension a little bit and just put a little bit of widthening in there. So now we made the sub stereo, and that's really shitty, but that doesn't matter for now. We're just gonna keep this as it is. And next up is a distortion. We're gonna distort the heck out of it. That's the distortion. I already have like a very basic kind of foghornish sound. It's just jump up kind of sound. Easy. I'm gonna enable the compressor, and I've enabled multiband, so we can have some multiband compression. I'm gonna add some highs. I'm just gonna boost a little bit. Cool. Next up, we're gonna add a filter. Not gonna enable the reverb yet or EQ. We're gonna enable the EQ, and we're gonna put it on a peak, and you just turn on the gain and just thing around the low mid. Those are the frequencies that are really important. So I have enabled the filter, and the reason is because we're gonna just route this on here. So that's a really basic foghorn sound, and this is just the base of it. Next up, we're gonna go here and take a track here, so we route it to a mixer track, and we're gonna load an EQ real quick. Use the built-in FL one. It's always okay. It's not the best one, but for now it's good. Again, work a little bit on some frequencies, see what sounds good. But we're mainly gonna work with EQ once we are adding the next plugin, which is Untitled Trash. Distortion 2, and you just have a blank preset here, and we're gonna enable the multiband, and we're gonna drag the frequencies like this. Something like this should do. And the first band should be the sub, and we're gonna add some tape saturate on our saturate and then tape saturate. Just gonna drag this a little bit, maybe a little bit more dry, because it may be like big, may sound big. Then we're just gonna choose some random distortion, just find what works, you know. I don't really like these because they have a lot of clicks. I like minor overdrive a lot. It's pretty heavy. And then we're gonna add like a fuzz to the high end. Drive. Yeah. You have a really crunchy high end as well. Gonna post filter it a little bit. Use that like really annoying high frequency. And now we're gonna focus on some harmonics here that we're just gonna take it down a little bit so it doesn't sound too. Just gonna do these. Sounds a lot better. Next up is we're gonna add convoluter thing, and we're gonna go to tail, and I like thud a lot. That sounds really weird, so we're just gonna take the mix down a little bit so I can extra layer. Makes it everything a little bit wider and separate it a little bit more width, and we're gonna add a little bit of compression. Just gonna take down the ratio a little bit, so it's a little bit compressed. Doesn't need to do a lot. Then we're gonna add another distortion, just to distort everything. Basically, you're gonna use Fruity Wave Shaper, and then just it's a little bit fatter. After that, we're gonna do some final EQing. We can actually do that before the distortion. Boost some frequencies we really like, and maybe disable some frequencies we don't like. So next up, we're gonna open up an insert. So this is our send. Here, I use a preset that has send, and if you don't have one, just use any channel here. And we're gonna load the default FL reverb, it's really old reverb, and it sounds really extreme and very unrealistic, and that's actually fine. So we're gonna turn up the delay and take off the dry signal. So send, then just do them. Maybe a little bit heavier. Important is that you use low cut so you can take out the sub. You don't want to reverb your sub. Next up is just to fine tune everything. So we can mess around with the filter. Here a little bit, maybe the drive, just mess around with this. This is really nice. We bump in the. So that's really basically the sound. And what you can do now is you can do some more of the tricks. You can make this longer. And we can double click this and you can make pattern like this. Like the very generic kind of this little boom at the end. You can just fine tune it however you want. And what you can also do is you can get another LFO and just make it a sawtooth like this, and then go to matrix and select LFO2, and then route it to global and route it to the master tune. And then we're gonna put it like on 3 or 4, and now you have this. Now it's way too fast, so put it on 2 bar. Ah, wait, you have to put this on envelope mode as well. It'll re-trig every time. You can also make it like wait a little bit longer. This, so that's like one of the sounds you can do. This sounds a little bit like Quarterpounder Bass, in my opinion. But yeah, it's really that simple. And what you can do after that is just tweak everything, add more plugins to it, fine tune everything so everything sounds really nice, or that it sounds really nice in your mix at least. So everyone has their own personal taste on how to do this. Something you can just tweak everything, just see what it does, you know, and maybe you can do something unique instead of the same, exactly the same sound that everyone's doing. And maybe you can just like add some weird effects here, like for example, what if I just add a phaser to this? So, phaser, put it there. Sounds really weird, but you know, you get the idea. You just can add everything you want. Get some weird plugins. Maybe you have like a really weird filter or a really weird whatever. For example, you can make it sound old school with this plugin that I have, called RX 950, that will emulate an old sampler. That will sound really old school. And just make it like really bad, like. Maybe just start it in here. Mono again. See, that's all the kind of things we can do. And it's endless. Endless option. Keep tweaking till you find something that sounds unique for your track. But this is like the basic idea of how to make foghorn style basses. They're like the basic technique. And also with the oscillators, you can use another oscillator as well. I don't even know if this is the perfect oscillator kind of style to do, like the right setup to do. Maybe there is one that will sound a million times better. But yeah, that's basically what I do if I want to make one. I don't usually make this kind of drum and bass, but I find it fun to mess around with synths and make like nasty bass lines. And sometimes I just hear something like, how do I make this? And then I just try and I feel very bad. Or sometimes I find something that's kind of similar to what I have right now, but it's not perfect, you know, and that doesn't matter. Because if you perfectly make something, like perfectly remake a sound and use it in your own track, then it's just copying. It's just boring. Just do something weird. Just make it, add your own touch. And that was my little message for the for synthesis. Well, I hope you've learned something from this little video. I usually don't make these kinds of videos, and I thought, yeah, let's do one. Let's do like. So, hope you guys enjoyed.